Hey, companions, I'm Lawrence. I'm one of your co hosts for the evening, and I'm going to bring in the amazing, the awesome, the wonderful co host of mine, I suppose, Brad Wright, who's also, of course, the creator of Netflix's Travelers and the co creator of the Stargate TV series. Brad?
Hi, how you doing, Lawrence?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I am
Good.
sweating a little bit,
Yeah.
as maybe you are.
Yeah, live events. That's live events.
These live events. So you'll notice, everyone, Rick is not amongst one of the three of us at the moment. He unfortunately had a personal, a kind of emergency. Not him. He's
He's
okay.
fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
We think.
About 2.5 hours ago, and so yeah, fingers crossed he will be able to join. If he can't join, we will definitely reschedule. We still have hopefully a fun conversation, but I totally understand that you're not
It's
here to
just
see
me,
me.
folks. People are going to be dropping out like flies. I can
Right,
tell. I
right.
promise. Da, 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 da.
Uh, so Brad, we're gonna hopefully have you tell some amazing Richard Dean Anderson stories as well.
Well,
As
this
you
is now a really good Richie Dean Anderson story. This is now probably my most favorite.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no.
Not to point out, whether it was Rick or anyone else, but what happens if actors don't turn up to set? What typically speaking on a big
I've told
Stargate
this
show?
story before on this, and it's not it's like quite a common thing to happen. But actors show up to set. They and when they call is 7 a.m. usually, but they're supposed to be in their makeup chairs long before that. So if we have a little bit of notice usually, and the difference between say a play or this, you can shoot around other people or put stand-ins for when you're lighting. Um, for example, you don't do the blocking with the actor who isn't there yet. But the story that I was going to tell is when Michael Shanks had appendicitis,
Right.
and I found out my phone rang around 5 a.m. and it's John Smith, our producer, and he goes, "So Michael's in the hospital," and I go, "Oh my God, is he okay?" So well, he had appendicitis, but so obviously he's been operated on. He can't work today, and I remembered the call sheet. He was wall to wall that day, and what were we going to do? And so my brain, it's 5 a.m. So my brain isn't really working at full speed. And so I'm thinking about it for a little bit and I get the beginnings of an idea and I phone Rob Cooper and I tell him the situation and I pitch him my wacky idea of how I'm going to make this work. And Rob goes, well, why don't we just say he has appendicitis? And I went,
Yeah.
it's genius. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And so that led to the famous Richard Dean Anderson line, "Can I see your scar?" No.
Yeah. um,
Hopefully, Rick
yeah.
doesn't have appendicitis. We don't think so. We're pretty sure it's
There's a
not.
good chance he does not have that
Yes, I
from
would
the
say a high
text
chance.
messages that we got earlier.
Um, so yeah, shit happens. I mean, that's you write around stuff. I've heard many a story of actors breaking their leg, and you don't just have to write around the next day or the next few days. You have to change the season. You have to change
Yeah.
the arc of the season. I've had people who've had personal tragedy in their lives, and you can't ask them to come to work in that situation. So you figure it out. You write around it.
Cool.
And in this
So
case, you
yeah.
have you and me just yakking, and people are going, "Son of a bitch!" But what can you do, right?
All right, so maybe what we'll do is it's been almost a year and a half now since we first spoke. It was your AMA, and at the time you had written an article around the rules of sci-fi's or your rules of sci-fi, stargates and superheroes.
You should put that up
And
again, or you should, because I think now there are way more people who.
yeah, yeah, I mean I thought it was one of the coolest pieces, and you really got such an amazing insight into really, I guess the difference between sci-fi and fantasy, these harder
Yeah.
rules that you have to follow. You know, you
That's
can't.
just a personal thing for me. I honestly, some people find it indistinguishable, and I'm not offended by that. It's just that for me, if it's sci-fi, it should at least have internal rules. You know, it should at least have rules that make sense within the show.
So I've heard that some people consider sci-fi as an example. Like the definition is it has to extend almost like from our world, um, whereas when it comes to fantasy, even if it is in space, then that's something slightly different, like almost like space fantasy. So as an example, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with this, but some people might consider Star Wars being fantasy and not sci-fi, whereas something like The Expanse because it's or Stargate because it's based in our kind of world, therefore it is sci-fi. Have you ever heard that? And how do you
Yes, and
feel
I
about
agree
that?
with that. I think Star Wars is fantasy. It's wonderful fantasy, and I don't mean aspects of it are, I guess you could say, are sci-fi, but and The Expanse is way more sci-fi
Oh
than
yeah,
Stargate. I mean, The Expanse follows rules of physics like to the letter,
yeah, yeah,
and as they should, and that's built into the fabric of the idea. And I mean, with Stargate, your starting point is going through a puddle to another planet. So that I'm
I
stuck with
sometimes
that. So
I
that's
sometimes jump into a puddle hoping
yeah.
that maybe I'm in China or I get to the other side of the world or something.
Well, that
So
would be
so there is
convenient.
something to
Yeah.
it.
We
Okay.
just, I mean, for Stargate, we came up with rules for how the Stargate worked that, we answered questions that helped us create story or helped us answer questions. For example, there's a scene in the feature film that's a beautiful scene, nicely done, where Daniel puts his face half in and you cut to the other side of the puddle, wherever that is, and then his face gets sucked away,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
interesting because you kind of imagine then the other half of Daniel kind of flopping backwards if he doesn't continue to walk.
Right, right.
So I think it was Mario, our pilot director, who said there has to be something like, he called it an anteroom, where the whole body doesn't get transferred until the whole body's gone through,
Yeah.
which made me think of, well, what if we shut down the Stargate while somebody is half in it, which I did in episode 1. I think the
Yeah,
episode
yeah, I
after the
think
pilot, the enemy
yeah.
within Kowalski's head, Teal kind of
Right.
holds him there. They shut down the Stargate. The half his head goes away,
Yeah. That was
which
actually
is the
it was
second time I've done that in a science fiction show. I did the same thing to Robert Patrick in an episode of Outer Limits. I apparently like cutting the back of people's heads off with.
yeah.
Oh, wait a minute!
Yeah,
I
it
did
is
it in
it's
the
dramatic.
Continuum
It's
movie too,
dramatic.
with a sword this time. I'm sick. I'm twisted. That's weird.
Well, interestingly, so I'm sure when you, like every project, when you first start, you have all of these different rules. You're trying to build out the universe. You're trying to create these characters. And very quickly, probably even I would imagine as you're shooting, you start to realize, whoa, we got some problems with these rules. I think you wrote about it immediately where, was it the scene where Apophis kind of comes in
Yeah,
kidnaps and then sort of backs into the Stargate and I guess when do you start to well I mean I guess you start to really immediately start changing these rules but I guess at what point does it get settled and how does that evolution kind of work for a show and I guess with Stargate because it's so long running you have that opportunity to establish things as you go.
well, I just remember in the editing room going, well, wait a minute. How does he go back?
Right, right.
Does he go back into start working on the computer, see a file on the old IBM AT going, oh, no, how do I do? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that was, and if we didn't address it in some way, and all we did is we didn't even fix it. We just had him saying some word to a Jaffa off screen and presumed there was a portable dialing device that allowed them to do that in emergencies, which I actually wrote into Continuum.
Yeah, yeah.
Tilt does it in Continuum.
Just a quick one for everyone who is still like with us, and thank you so much.
For both.
We're gonna turn this much more into a bit of an AMA with Brad as well. So please direct questions to Brad as much as possible, to the moderators and to the team. If you can just help me by populating some of those questions into the document, and that way we can
I
get
know
to as
you're all
many
here to see
questions.
Rick.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm not him. Uh, I don't even do an impression of Rick. So unfortunately, he's still not here, and his emergency may be keeping him away during the entire duration of this. But we'll hang on a little bit longer.
yes, yes, and we're gonna hang on for a little bit for as long as folks want to join, but we will definitely reschedule with Rick as well.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure he's very sorry, and we're very sorry for that. But we're gonna keep it fun. We're gonna keep it going, keep the energy alive. All right.
Woo!
So here was something I was actually going to potentially set up as a topic for Rick, which is so I was doing some research on him, and he was such a unique leading man. You know, at the time he had just done General Hospital. I think he had just guest appeared on was it the Love Boat, that show, and he decided to, or he got the opportunity to audition for MacGyver. Now, during that time, um, everyone who was auditioning for MacGyver, they came in with this kind of like hulky, super, kind of macho man kind of style. And Rick came in and brought a real, genuine humbleness and kind of humanity to his audition. And that's why he not only got the part, they thought he was going to be the next big star. Now, Brad, your experience, I'm sure with Rick would have been very different because he would have been a big star already. So does somebody like Rick audition? Is there a tape? What is that kind of process?
And you don't understand how big a star he was either. I mean, it doesn't even exist anymore.
Right.
There was a time when there were three networks, and that was television. And so if you had a show and you were the lead on a show, you were one of, I mean, millions and millions of people watched the show. And so, whereas now, the pie, I mean, you can still be a major star, but the slice of the pie that anybody's watching at a given time is nowhere near as big
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
So I was doing the Outer Limits when I started Stargate, and it wasn't a question of Rick auditioning at all, but the president of MGM, John Symes, who gave me the opportunities I've had, and I'm forever grateful to John. Also was an executive at Paramount, I think it was Paramount, for MacGyver. And so he knew the kind of star that Rick was, and the kind of eyeballs that a star like Richard Dean Anderson would bring to our show. And so when he suggested him for an Outer Limits episode that I had written it, I guess in season 1 or 2, I can't remember. And I said, no, I don't think so. And he was like, kind of like, oh, who the hell are you? Or who the hell are you? This is Richard Dean Anderson. And I said, just not for this part. I think he's great. And so when Stargate came along, he said, so what do you think about Richard Dean Anderson for this? I went, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now he was nothing like his character, his personhood is nothing like Kurt Russell's. I mean,
Mhm.
Kurt played Jack O'Neill very, no, I mean, he had just gone, the opening scenes, he's gone through a huge personal tragedy. So it flavors everything the character does after that. Daniel's this annoying guy. It's a suicide mission, basically. And we wanted the show, we knew the show was going to go at least 44 episodes when we started. So we wanted a character to be funnier. And that's where Rick and I hit it off pretty much right off the top. I couldn't help myself on the page and without including humor, and he can't help himself on the stage without including humor. So it worked out really well. And as I got better at finding his voice, which took a while. I
Yeah.
mean, he gives himself shit for not saying, for not saying what was on the page early on, and to a certain extent, I gave him shit too. But I understood, especially eventually, I understood the way to find his voice. So there were, I mean, in time, it wasn't like he was always rewriting or changing the lines. In time, I found his sense of humor. In time, I figured out what he liked and wrote the things that, and you go, oh, good, he said that one, you know, and it would be great.
That's really interesting because and there's a lot of creative people I think amongst the companion members. So I guess the question is, with somebody like Richard Dean Anderson, who and I mean no disrespect to you, like he was probably much more famous in the kind of Hollywood world than you. He's
Much more famous.
much more
His name was above the
powerful.
title,
He's above,
Lawrence.
right.
I remember another actor coming in and saying, I wish I had more to do, and I just pointed at the poster that was hanging in my office, and it says Richard Dean Anderson in Stargate.
Right, right.
My name is the tiny little one in the bottom left corner. You can barely
Yeah,
make it out.
yeah, yeah.
So yes, you're absolutely
So
right.
he's way more. I mean, he's more famous in the show. He's more,
Yes.
and then also he's I believe about 10 years your senior. Is that right?
Yeah,
And
pretty much exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so at the time, I guess
I was
how do
34 when I
you
met him.
right? Okay, so I mean, how I suppose my question is how do you direct and write for someone like that? How do you almost like manage upwards, I guess, in some ways. I don't know if that's the right way of asking it, but it'd be quite intimidating, I think.
It actually it kind of was at first,
Mhm.
and also because he had a producing partner who I still speak on the phone with. He's a good guy, Michael Greenberg, and but I felt like, especially at the beginning, it was his job to look after Rick, and so I wasn't going to I wasn't going up to Rick. I was going up to a team of people. I didn't get
Yeah.
notes from Rick. I got notes from a team of people, and appropriately so. He was there to look after Rick and just make sure that we had Rick's back. And of course, it didn't take really that long for Rick to figure that out. I don't think, or I hope not.
You mean figure
That
out in terms of the voice and working with you, or
but
actually
also that our agenda was open and honest, and we weren't trying to, we understood production and the need to put stuff on the screen and to make a show
yeah,
as good as it could be.
yeah. I mean, and so I guess with the dynamic between somebody like Rick and then maybe other actors that you worked with that didn't quite have the same star power, is there I can imagine it's still a pretty similar approach, right? You're still trying to bring them on side. You might not have to answer to their producers or to their managers and everything, but how do you coach them, direct them, bring them in, and really buy in, right? Because it's a marriage between you and the actor in order to create that character.
It's funny because the previous couple of years before Stargate, I had done with John Glassner, who I
Mm.
co-created Stargate with SG1 with. We had worked together on the Outer Limits, and we got some pretty big stars on that show.
Yeah,
And it was kind of difficult not to be starstruck when you met somebody. And I mean, when you hear Charlton Heston's on line one for you, Brad, you kind of pick up the
right.
phone and go, "Hi." I mean, whether I agreed with his politics or not, he was Charlton Heston. I mean, I'm on the phone with Ben-Hur. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
And he didn't even do the episode, but he ended up doing another one later, so I did get to meet
Okay,
him.
okay.
And I'm on the phone. Rebecca De Mornay's directing, and Harry Dean Stanton is on the phone with me about a show, and so I was used to meeting and working with some stars for a couple of years, and it was cool. It was Leonard Nimoy. I mean, I could just name drop like crazy, but I only had to deal with them and work with them for a week or 10 days, and the length of an episode. And that puts you and them always on your best behavior. But when you're going to be working with somebody for 44 episodes, or at least hoping you don't get fired before the end of the 44 episodes, which is really where I was, let's be honest. They weren't going to change the name above the title. You know what I mean? If it came down to it's between you and me, bud, I would be gone. And I knew that, right? But the thing is you have to have a long-term relationship. You have to figure out a way in a series, an ongoing series, to find a way to work together that is comfortable. And I think we did that. But you're right. I mean, he was one of, if not the biggest star in television at the time, because it wasn't MacGyver, the ensemble. Oh, hi, Amanda. Oh, thank you. Here's a real star, people. It's not just Brad.
Oh,
I was just about to go, and then in 1968, no.
Yeah, he had a bit of a personal emergency, but he was trying to rush back to us in time, and we haven't heard anything since. So Brad and I have been
There he is.
Whoa! Whoa!
I knew he would show up.
Okay.
Amanda, Rick came just as you did, so I'm going to shut up now and make you talk to him. Hi, Rick.
Okay, so Rick, actually, we haven't done a tech. Ooh.
There he is. We heard you there, Rick.
Oh, I love this.
Good God.
Live television, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm so pissed. I'm so sorry.
Amanda, can you imagine anyone not showing up for a live event? I can't.
Hey, I showed.
You did, buddy. Thank you.
Sitting here for showed up, Rick, to surprise you and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And then they were like, "He's not here." Oh my God.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
And so I'm like, "Hey, Brad."
Rick, it's okay. It's just now the counter of people watching will begin to tick back up again because it was just me for a while.
You've been losing them?
I was losing them, man. I know. It's just my talking head just won't do it.
Over 2.5 hours trying to get something to work at my house because I live in such the lee side of a mountain right next to the ocean. Sounds idyllic, but it sucks for any kind of connection. So I apologize. It will probably happen again. Jesus, what did I miss?
I was just talking about you in order to placate the people who are here for you. And I was saying all these lovely things.
Oh, well, let me disconnect you.
No. Please, God, no.
Oh, hi, Amanda.
Baby, I just came to surprise you and say, "Hi, Rick."
Surprise.
They called you an emergency, didn't they?
No, they didn't. This was literally a planned surprise.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Hi.
I just got my camera to work now, so now I see just how red I am.
No, I'm quite toasty too, but I'm sitting in a parking lot in the hot sun. So
Well, I think it's perfect and nobody cares.
I was going to say it's, that's a hobby, I suppose.
Yeah. A little bit.
Okay, well, that's it.
bye.
Amanda's here. I'm not going to say anything. You guys talk amongst yourselves. That was it though, right? That was just a quick hello.
You don't want that to happen.
No.
Oh, gosh. Are people watching now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're half an hour in there, bud.
I know. Oh, shit.
That's okay. It's fine.
Remind me one more time and
it's all right. And why I oughta.
Yeah. I
was telling good stories about you though.
Something like I was always late to set and shit like that.
Nope.
Oh, can you swear on this?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh golly, yeah.
Yeah, that's as far as Amanda usually goes.
What was the one you always used, Amanda?
Say golly, gosh, a lot.
The one on the show.
Fart, tits, bum.
Yeah.
Oh, Holy Hannah.
That's it. Thank you.
The character, yes.
Life's perfect.
Name. Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that. I don't think it was me. Did you, or was that you?
Me?
No, Amanda. Was that an Amanda?
Rick, did you write my lines for me? I don't remember. Was it something Carmen said, maybe? And then I
It's
said it?
something
Wow.
I identify with you exclusively.
Holy Hannah.
Yeah. Because you're such a puritanical character.
Yeah. Or something.
That's it.
Yeah, her. I remember her. Was she your favorite character, Rick? Probably, yeah, right? Because she was like smart and sexy and cool, like me.
Holy Hannah? What?
Hannah's not quite as holy as yeah.
We'd
Sam
like.
Park.
Well, what do we do now?
Well, there's questions from
Oh.
fans.
Dang.
Not
Okay.
for me.
But
I'm
none
just
from
a
you, Amanda?
guest. I know I'm just a surprise guest. I just popped in that. Oh, I was gonna ask a question and I was gonna try to be clever. And now I've been completely thrown by the fact that Rick wasn't here when I got here. So I'm like, oh, long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
been great. It's been great.
Uh-huh.
It has been a lot of fun. We've
Yeah.
shared a lot of really great stories. I did a lot of research, Rick, on your career, and have been saying and Brad has been saying some very nice things, and how the dynamic between you and him, worked early on with other, other cast members. And at this point, everyone would have been really excited and really pumped, and I would have said, I think it's time for some fan questions. And then Amanda would jump in here and surprise you with the first fan question.
Oh,
Uh,
well thought out. Nicely done.
Yeah.
But now
so
we just got a bunch of questions. Let's ask them. I'm just gonna sit by and listen and see what you say.
that's right. So
Is that costing money? Her being here? Okay. All right.
Amanda and I will talk afterwards. But
He's
we
on an
have-
hourly. It's
we actually have another kind of surprise, I guess, question before we get to the kind of fan questions. So if you can play the second kind of question, guys, in the back, that would be great.
What?
For Rick? Sorry, there's a producer in the back. I'm speaking to like an invisible person, and they'll ask.
There's
Are you
another
talking
surprise
again?
guest, Rick.
What's that?
Yes.
There's another surprised
Oh,
guest.
thank you. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Brad.
Brad.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I hate surprise questions or guests. Well, I don't hate the guests.
It's fine.
Okay, thanks.
It's fine.
Justin.
Keep going.
Justin,
No audio
well,
on the
keep
clip.
going. No audio
Okay.
on the clip. Oh,
Okay, I will
Oh.
ask actually then another question while we sort that right here. Let me get to quickly some of the lists of the questions.
Was something just supposed to happen that didn't?
It was.
That's been happening all day, bud.
Yeah.
You gotta let me know. Is because I'm
No,
Okay.
it's okay. It's okay.
moving
It's actually, it's been far more entertaining this way for me. Sweating a little, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I don't know if you guys, and I'm just stalling again because we're waiting for this question, but I haven't acted in since my 20s, and I still have dreams where I'm on stage and I don't know the line. I still have those dreams.
on. Why?
I don't know. Don't you ever have those dreams?
I never had many lines, so I was kind of okay. I was never threatened. No, I know.
Okay.
I know it's similar things. I've never had the cliche what you just described, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, just once in a while. But usually it's related to something else, like when I used to play a lot of hockey. I dream of having my skates on an ice rink with no ice. I mean, like it would just be water or something like that. So
I think I've had that dream.
you played hockey?
I skated. I didn't play hockey well.
Well, I didn't play well, but you had a stick in your hand at one point, right?
Yes.
Okay, you played hockey?
I guess you're right. Just a little pickup hockey down at the pond in Toronto.
car.
All right.
Trana.
So one of the questions that we've got here was so earlier Brad and I were talking about how well, I had asked what the casting process, I guess, was with, such a big star like yourself and his perspective. And so we have Heidi H, and she's asked, um, you know, I guess what was your process? What made you want to become, I guess, Colonel Jack O'Neill? What were some of the uh, reasons why you want to take on a show like Stargate SG-1? I don't know if you remember those times.
Well, I don't remember the exact motivation, except that I was asked to be on it by a man named John Symes.
John Sims.
And he basically what he said to me was, I'll send you a copy of the movie, do your research, and then do this.
It's John.
That was a tough audition, I'll tell you. But I almost blew it. But no, that was the process. And I looked at the movie and thought, first of all, he shouldn't smoke and he shouldn't have a flat top that's bleached. And that's about as much reason. Plus, I have to say, I mean, meeting Brad and what was your partner's name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. I won't say his last name, only because I can't remember it. But that was it. I mean, there's not. I mean, those guys are well, Brad especially. Jonathan.
I stuck around longer.
Yeah, Jonathan. In retrospect, I didn't much care for him. But
that's not true. It's just that I was around a lot longer.
You stayed.
We got along great.
You stayed.
I stayed.
Did I just disappear?
No, something's happened to the whole screen here. We've gone off to the side.
Yeah, there's a giant hand. This is the video surprise, second surprise that's happening now.
It's really the fourth surprise if you're counting.
The fourth surprise.
Well, we can see each other, right?
Richard D.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Oh,
Ricky Dean. Rick. RDA. Mac.
What?
You have been referred to as many things. But I digress.
Oh,
My question is, it is rumored that one of your favorite people to work with was this smoker, slightly gold character that you seem to enjoy. Is that true?
Oh, what was his name?
Rick.
Patrick. Oh, yeah,
How
no,
are you, brother? I just wanted to pop in and say hello. I miss you. And I want to thank you for all the great years we had on set, all the great years we had as fathers, as human beings. I want to thank you for all that I learned from you. And I really enjoyed every minute of it. I miss you, brother. And just wanted to tell you that and tell you I love you. Hope to see you soon. Take care.
Chris.
Who is that?
His voice got even lower.
His voice is lower now.
Well, he's
And he's
doing
being very still.
voiceovers, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Aw.
seriously.
Oh, he does. Do you remember his audition, Rick? I do.
Didn't he come out and stand there?
Yeah. And you said, and he was incredibly buff. And
Yeah.
you said from the audience, you shouted, dude, you could hit the gym. Don't you care?
Don't care. Yes. Take care of yourself.
Could you hit the gym once? You don't care. It was very funny. Lighten the whole moment.
Do we know what he's doing now? Besides
He-
the voiceovers?
Yeah, he's been doing some amazing voiceover work now as the God of War in a very popular video game series.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
the name of it? Do you remember? Let's give him a plug.
God of War.
God of War.
It's a video game.
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
It's huge. It's very, very popular.
well, I wish I was. I'd love to be able to. I'd like to be able to access anything on my system. Like I watched Travelers for a while, and
Yeah?
then suddenly couldn't get it. And that comes through Netflix, right?
Yes. Did you put another quarter in?
I'm
Because
Oh,
that's how I get paid. It's
I just hate living in Malibu. I just can't stand it. It's but Travelers, phenomenal.
oh, cool.
Holy buckets, you guys. Just spectacular. Well done.
Amanda and I love playing in Travelers. We had a great
Oh,
time.
so fun. That was a great show to work on.
Well, it's still going, right?
Well, no, it's still there. It's still on Netflix, but no. Amanda's gone on to other shows, and I've gone on to pitching other shows and failing.
Hey, it's a living.
It is. Well, it is. It is when you get paid to develop. You get to write the script, and they pay to write a pilot or a movie, and then it never gets made.
Well, what's the status? What's your status with things these days?
I wrote a movie for Amazon, Amazon Japan, oddly enough, and it was going to shoot in February now, and Omicron made it go away.
Shite.
Yeah.
Is it gone?
No, it's just been pushed probably a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Amanda is pushing through and producing, directing right now. In fact, you're at work and you've left and gone into your car to join us, haven't you? You were at work.
No, I'm supposed to be at work. I'll be at work after this. But yeah, we're shooting on a Saturday. But yeah, I'm producing, directing a show called Motherland Fort Salem.
Oh,
Second year doing that. We talked about this, I think, last time you and I FaceTimed, Rick.
So you're spending your lunch with us, basically.
Who better to spend my lunch with?
You look
That's
so
sweet.
lovely. Look at her face.
I know.
Oh,
And she
right.
looks exactly the same, doesn't she?
She looks better.
Oh, that's better. That's an even better thing to say.
Nice setup, though. Thank you.
It was good.
It's really good.
Look at that. Oh,
Yeah. It's that rosy cheek
just wanna
smile.
pinch her cheeks off. Now you- so
Well, not off.
Where are you? Ow.
That's just too far.
almost. But I've got this
Well-
old man thing.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
What
Here?
to talk about?
Waddle.
The waddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm leaning forward to throw
Oh.
my waddle into shade.
Mhm.
Hey, I'll just stretch it for the rest of the chat.
Yeah, sure.
Nice forehead, though.
That's all I got. I got the forehead. I have hair.
Yes, you do.
You know, you hit 60 and you still have hair. It's a thumbs up as far as I'm concerned. You know?
Try 72 and then,
Oh
You look
yeah.
great.
yeah, but it's thinning. It really is. I'm glad we're talking about this in front of millions of people.
You just pulled several out just now.
Yeah. Oh, I got a pile here. But
Save
yeah,
'em.
it's all about aging, isn't it?
Well,
And that's
For the
what all
old.
this young audience wants to hear about is an old man talking old age.
they do want to hear you. They do want to hear you.
Well, I should put some pants on then.
Well, you know, okay. I have to tell a story. MGM asked me to write another pilot before COVID.
I'll do it.
I did, and in that move pilot, and Amanda's read it. There's a scene between where she video calls Jack O'Neill, and Jack O'Neill makes the put on some pants joke. It's so funny.
Well, that we're connected. I know.
Simpatico,
we
exactly.
had, yeah.
And then he says, "I still have your toothbrush. I've only used it once."
Keep them coming, buddy.
Oh, baby. Yeah. Well, no, that was that was before COVID, and who knows if that'll ever see the light of day, because then Amazon bought MGM and it may go away. But well, who knows? Who knows?
They did.
And I don't even know if that deal's gone through. It's still compliance takes forever. So
So they're not going to put any money your way to develop this.
oh, I got paid.
Oh.
But you know, COVID crushed the gears and made it kind of go away. And then everything's changed. The whole world's changed since then.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
COVID. Mm.
Yeah. Lawrence, is there any more questions, or should just the three of us just
Really
jam
just
for a while?
It'd be lovely if he just said,
No,
no, nobody else is called in.
I
No,
would.
there's
That's it. That was the end of the surprises, and I don't dare to interrupt when the three of you are speaking because
okay.
it is magic. It
Oh
is
yeah,
magic on
Now,
screen.
what's
So.
this? Safari quit unexpectedly.
it's okay. We can still see and hear you.
can't hear you.
Can?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've
You're
got
okay.
this huge panel in front of me that's full of gobbledygook. That's another Sam word.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just
Um,
trust that you're there and smiling.
Yeah. You're there. If you can hear us, you're still there too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm afraid to do anything for fear of losing you.
But there are more fan questions. So why don't we throw out another
Yeah.
one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's some questions. Well, I'm gonna have a little anecdote first, which is really it's around the MacGyver and MacGyverism legacy. You probably won't remember this because it was just so long ago. But in 1989, you were on the Arsenio Hall show, and he had joked about using MacGyver almost as like a verb. People started using it at the time. And around that time, you said that you had just missed the cut of trying to submit MacGyver into the Webster's dictionary. I think the producers and yourself were trying to get it in there. And I don't know if you ever followed up with that or anything, but MacGyver, that word, has made it into the Oxford Dictionary in 2015. And so, your character, your legacy is in the Oxford Dictionary. Is basically a way to.
It's a okay. Now Lawrence is frozen. This is perfect.
This is so
We,
good.
we've hit the trifecta. You're in the dictionary. He's saying MacGyver's in the dictionary.
Can I
Yeah,
tell a story about because when I met you, Rick, I had never seen MacGyver, and I was like so embarrassed because everyone MacGyver, and I'd never seen it. And I don't know if you remember when we were shooting the pilot, all of us were staying at the Sutton place, and there was a dinner. And after the dinner, you and I went for a walk, and we walked like down Robson Street and along Denman. We were walking down Robson, and you were like, "Well, kid, this could be pretty big, this show." And I was like, and I said, do you still get recognized from MacGyver? And what was that like? And you kind of paused, and we're walking. And then I swear to God, like at that moment, this van drove past, and these guys leaned out the window and went, MacGyver. And you're like, it's like that.
oh,
Like that.
I don't remember.
I was like, holy shit, I'm with MacGyver. I don't know what that means, but I'm with MacGyver. Yeah.
And he gets yelled at by buses of men.
Gets yelled at by young men in vans. It was exciting.
Well,
There you are. Lawrence is back on another platform because there's nothing like live. Nothing like it.
Oh boy, my internet just dropped. So we are on my mobile phone 4G. I'm so sorry about that. But continue. I from what I understand, the conversation was brilliant. I'll be back and.
We were talking
Right.
about what it's like to be a star and to be MacGyver, and Rick had a funny story. I have a funny story of being with Rick, and the same thing happened. And Rick was so nice about it. We went. Remember the time we went on a golf trip to Kelowna? A bunch of 12 of us went, and you joined, and Michael joined, and I guess the organizers knew you were going to be there, and they all walked up, and I walk out, and we're talking, and there's a bunch of people there to help us get to our bus or something, and they were all there to see you, and they all went, "Hello, Mr. Anderson, it's so nice to meet you," and blah 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 blah, and you said, "What are you talking to me for? This guy here's the guy who organized the thing." and they looked at me and went, "Hi," and then went right back to you. It was so funny, and I don't envy it. It's nice being a writer and unknown in those situations.
thought about that a little bit. My daughter asked me about it in a direct, serious way, because she's just finished directing her first, I want to say feature, but it's a short. And her friends from high school know that, everybody keeps track now because of this thing that we're talking on. But she wanted to know about fame and all that business, because when she was a kid, she, we'd walk around and, did you hear that?
Yeah, somebody's phone must be ringing and it's crickets. Keep going.
Thank you, baby.
Fame.
And she was a little concerned about it because she used to have to stand outside a store. She chose to do this. I didn't put her there. She'd stand outside a store like a Oliver Peoples or something, and there'd be all these paparazzi around in the trees and around the area. And she would stand there like, she didn't literally, but she would almost be like this, crossing her arms and saying, "Don't you touch my dad. Don't even come close." But she remembered that. Now since all these kids from her high school are aware of her pending great success, but certainly her effort in making movies, are coming out of the woodwork and kind of, chumming up to her and sort of, I think she said a couple of them actually asked to be in the next thing she does, the typical sort of thing. And she said, "Dad, I don't trust any of them." She said, I know they've reappeared in my life. So the bottom line that she learned, or she's learning, is that, you got to be on guard. Basically, I told her that I can sense when I meet someone, their motivation or their intent. Because I love meeting the people that just want to say hi, and maybe express some appreciation. That's fine, but it's when there's a lingering and an effort to get in, like make constant eye contact and try to get in there. Basically, in my mind, they're trying to find an angle that with which they can approach. To deeper. And with total strangers, it's hard. It's almost impossible for me to let anybody come in that I don't know, that I haven't known for a while. But anyway, that's long-winded answer to some question that probably wasn't asked. But so now, why don't I have sound with you guys?
You can't hear me?
Oh, there
There you go. I was just laughing. Oh,
Violently?
Yeah, violently. But now we can't hear. No, Amanda's just screwing with us.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, good.
Andy,
I thought you were pretending that you couldn't. I thought you were mouthing words and.
well, I thought you were laughing silent.
Was
Andy just showed up.
Andy?
She had a rough night last night. We had to go to the vet this morning. That's part of why I'm late, but I'm not blaming it on her.
Well, I'm glad everything worked out. It's there's.
Yeah, she's nearing the end, but you wouldn't know it to take her for a walk.
I don't think dogs are aware of that. I think they just live until they don't, which I love about them.
Yeah, as long as there's no overt suffering.
Yeah, I agree.
They may have some mental problems, but that's for her and her therapist.
By the way, I know fans are going to want to hear this. Rick, I have to tell you that my was over the moon that you liked her painting.
Really?
Because Amanda, I showed a painting that my mother did to Rick in our last thing a couple of weeks ago, and she watched it and she was just, oh, I'm so glad he liked it. So
Oh, bless
Uh,
your heart. Where is
Yeah.
that painting?
It's still there. It's right there, hanging.
I think your head's in the way.
No,
Oh,
I'm pointing to it.
there it is.
There.
Tiny.
Well, it's far away and it's not the original. It's just a print.
Oh, I thought it was like really up close and just a postage stamp.
Well, it's okay. I'm not going to bring
My
it.
best to your mom.
Okay, I'll tell her.
Thank you.
Lawrence, you're back. You got your internet back.
I got my internet back. It's just a surprise number 6 of the day. So there you go. I was kind of giving that story of the MacGyver to set up a fan question, and that question was well, both Travis R and Alyssa L had both asked a very similar question, which is like, have you ever found yourself asking what MacGyver or what Jack would do if you were in a particular sticky situation?
Wait, you stumbled on what? Say it again.
Like if you ever found yourself in any kind of sticky situation, if you ever thought to yourself or asked yourself, what would MacGyver or what would Jack do in this situation?
Oh, in real life.
In
Yeah.
real life, yeah.
No. No, it's just if there's any kind of a situation, Richard, just take care of it or deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't think, what would I do when I was playing MacGyver? What would I, well, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You're a person.
Yeah. And, of course, so is MacGyver. And
Yeah.
they were real people. Wink, wink. But no, I don't go through any process like that. It's just fun to be.
Yeah. Amanda, any you ever think,
I
this would
often
be
think, what would Rick do?
Yeah.
And then I do the opposite,
right.
Or just do.
or I
Yeah.
just do. No, sorry, Lawrence, not to be irreverent. Do I ever think what would MacGyver do?
I
Damn.
guess so.
What would Sam
The
Carter
question
do?
was really for
What would
Rick.
Sam Carter do?
Yeah.
Sam would be far more rational than me. So yeah, I probably should spend more time thinking about what Sam Carter would do.
Okay.
You'd reverse the polarity for one.
For one, and I'd blow up a couple of suns
Yeah.
and then just pull out the P90 and go to town. So yeah, which would be so satisfying. No,
You're kidding.
I am
You're
kidding.
You're joshing me.
Joshing. Golly.
All right, Lawrence, let's move on.
All right,
That
next
was a
question.
Good question.
I guess it'd be good for both. We'll start with Rick, and this round.
There's 3 of us here, Lawrence.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah, and
All of you.
Supposed to be here, so I'm just crashing this party.
No.
Nobody cares what I think.
Well, they care. Brad, they actually care. They actually, when it was just me and you, they did ask a very similar question. So here it is. It's all around conventions, effectively. But
Okay.
Teresa P, Regina S, and I apologize, I didn't get the name of the other person who asked Brad. But effectively, they all said, "We've missed you. And do you plan on doing any in-person conventions in the future? Or are you enjoying these kind of podcasts and online kind of conversations like this?" So we could start with Rick first. And
What? No, start with Brad first.
I don't get asked to do conventions, Rick.
You don't?
No,
You're
That's crazy.
kidding.
I don't. No, I just don't. Nobody
Would.
cares. And I don't take it personally. I kind of get it. They want to see you. They want to see the characters. Audiences don't even want to know it's been written. They like thinking you were there making it up. Nobody saw that, Lawrence. That person sneaking
Nobody
by.
saw that.
Nobody saw.
right.
So don't worry about it. Nobody saw it.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. But you guys, they eat you up when you go to conventions, as they should.
Well, my favorite conventions were always whenever she was around.
You're the she, I think, Amanda.
Yes. Because we riff a little bit in real life, and sometimes the focus is on the 2 of us, and it's always fun to be with her.
The other was in Australia, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably, yeah. We
It
were
was
all there.
it was so nice. But you and I went like, you had to find this particular kind of t-shirt. Remember? There was a store and you were like, I have to find these shirts. And we went to this department store and bought
Yes.
you t-shirts.
And I have since acquired many.
But that was a nice trip. I remember that very fondly because you were a good ear for me at that time. It was nice.
Yeah, how's it going these days? No, let's not start that conversation.
Oh, good.
Yeah, okay, good. I'll trust.
All right, great. Next question here. We have specifically, there's two questions really from Michelle S. and Sabina P. And they both ask questions around effectively Wiley in your work. But since all of you are parents, you know, with work kind of out there, the question was originally asked was, has Wiley asked, has she watched any MacGyver, Stargate, or any other projects that you've been in, and what does she think of them?
Well, I've never sat down with her, never been with her when she's watched anything. She's, I think she does her own sneaking into the internet to watch certain antics, and she's, I think, basically she's researching me. I think maybe to get validation that I'm her dad. No, it's just that she's always shown a little fascination for my life in general, and you know, any kind of offhanded comment I'll make or story that I'll relate to her, she's not jaw-droppingly impressed, but just curiously impressed by some of the antics that I've put myself through. But no, I don't think she's a regular viewer, but and I don't think she's seen them all. I haven't seen them all.
Amanda, do you ever have conversations with family members or anything
Liv
like that about
Liv
your work?
watched some Stargate. She really loved Travelers. But what Liv told me recently that she does is if I'm working out of town, she'll watch interviews. She'll go on YouTube and look for interviews because then it's really me. And so she'll watch interviews or bloopers if she's missing me. That's sweet. Thought that was really sweet.
Bloopers of interviews?
No, well, yeah, probably a lot of those too, but blooper reels from the shows or interviews or yeah.
Those are to me the most fun too.
Mhm.
Any bloopers.
I guess because I'm a writer, my kids give me notes on like what
Seriously?
they're smart. They're smart. They're in their 30s. So, you know, for Travelers, it was like, I don't know, Dad. I don't know about that one. That one didn't make sense to me. And I would explain it and they'd go, yeah, I guess. You know, it's just what you want. You know, you want them to be there. You could have given me that note before we shot it, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks, kids.
Getting network notes after each
Yeah,
show.
exactly. No, they're smart. They're both teachers.
That's so wonderful.
It's cool, huh?
Yeah. That was my dad too.
It's a noble profession, I think.
Truly.
Yeah. We had a question on acting from Michelle S. and Christina S.
This is for Amanda.
For Rick, are you interested in acting again? Are there any current shows or films that you would love to act in?
I occasionally a wisp of a thought in that direction will float through my own personal ether, but I'm not scratching at the walls. If I could show you just like maybe 20 minutes worth of my life where I live and what I do and who my best friend is, you'd understand. I mean, I'm not, I don't have to, I'm not making any excuses other than that I love the, oh, that's not completely true. I get a little frustrated once in a while because, you know, everything I do in real life, I think is genius, and that the world would just thoroughly enjoy my life. I couldn't even make that funny. It's so sad. But no, shows that boy, I did, you know, I watch so little like television that I can't even name a show that's on.
Travelers.
Besides Travelers, I think I've already indicated that.
Yes, you
Travelers.
did. You did.
But no, that terrible answer to a fair question. But no, I'd like to be on Amanda's show too. Also, Brad.
Good to know.
Something about Salem, right?
Just a few more episodes left then.
Seriously?
Yeah, we're shooting episode 6 right now of 10.
And that it then for the show?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. Freeform.
How many-
Just
How many
3 seasons.
seasons? Oh,
3.
that's a nice little grouping.
That seems to be the magic number.
It does.
It's they have a product at 3 episodes and they like to move on.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about that.
No, me neither.
I'll bet. Yeah. Is it gone the days of multiple year pickups and stuff?
I think
That-
so.
That was unusual when it happened to us. I mean, I don't know anybody else who, after getting a 44 episode order that same year, got an additional 44 episode order.
Yeah.
We knew we were doing 88 episodes before the end of season 1. This does not happen anywhere. It just
Such a
doesn't.
luxury.
It was pretty. We were pretty lucky.
For those of you listening, it adds security to one's life.
It
And
does.
also you can
Speaking of,
mold.
you brought up John Symes. I said to John, I guess I can build a house then. And he said, Brad, I like my writers to have big mortgages. Build the biggest house you can. That's John Symes. Great line.
That's all.
Yeah. Good man.
Yeah. Hit us, Lawrence.
Along the same kind of lines, there's a question for you, Brad, which is from Sino Hui Hino Josa. He asks, are there any sci-fi shows that you wish you had worked on or written for?
Yes, I wish I had written for Star Trek. I tried. I flew down. I pitched dozens of times. Well, 3 times. And then when I finally got offered a job on Star Trek, I was doing well on The Outer Limits, and I decided to stay with that. And I think it was a good call. But I mean, I would have loved to write for Star Trek. It would have been great.
You would have been, yeah, you're better than that.
That's nice of you to say. I just liked the show. I was a fan of The Next Generation. I thought it was a fun show.
It was a good show. Yeah.
And I would do The Outer Limits again in a heartbeat, because it's like doing a movie. And you could come and ask your friends to play, and they come and they do an episode. You do one, you go, hey, and they move on. It's just that there's no appetite in the buyer's world for anthology.
Really? It's
Nobody
all
wants it.
serial then.
Yeah. Well, and worse than serial, they want
One-off?
procedurals.
Oh, Jesus. What is that?
Well, it's a great way to make a lot of money if you manage to come up with one that's good. CSI is probably the most famous of all procedurals. Law and Order is a procedural.
Yeah. I think
And Amanda, maybe it's not the right kind of thing because you're actively working in a variety of shows. So maybe I'll reframe the question. Are there types of projects, whether they're films or video games or other things that are interesting to you right now, or any kind of types of projects that you?
Yeah, it's funny because I used to look at shows and wish that I was acting on them, and now I look at shows and wish that I was directing them, like Succession, or I love The Great, or there's British series. There's a great series now. It's limited run called Landscapers. That's phenomenal.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, right? Oh
Oh,
my God, love it.
so good.
But I have a feature that I'm hoping to shoot sometime this year. Well, I'm committed to trying to make it sometime this year. And it's a story, a local story in Vancouver about a young person who ages out of the foster care system and ends up on the streets. And it's about the downtown east side and the community. And it's like really heavy, but also super heartwarming. And I want to try to make it like a social mission in how we shoot in the downtown east side. I have, anyway, great group of people. Trembling Void is the company. And so, yeah, that's my next, hopefully, project after this. Take some time off from television and do a movie.
Yeah, you told me about it. It sounds amazing. It sounds like
Yeah,
you really,
yeah. We talked
and
about
your
it
heart's
last-
close. You care about it. That's important when you're trying to
I really
drive
do.
a project.
Yeah.
Not that Amanda, I'm sure, will need it, but Brad, is there any advice, or what's kind of the difference between when you make television versus making, say, a feature film? Is it the same approach? Is it different?
There's virtually nothing that I can tell Amanda.
Cha-ching.
She knows more than I do in so many aspects of this business, and so it's peer to peer. The only advice I could give is what I already hinted at, and that is care about it. That
Yeah.
matters.
But I pitched you last weekend when we got together, Brad.
Yeah.
I through sort of my thoughts on the script and how I wanted to change it, and you were super helpful. Just
Oh, good.
helping me beat it all out. Yeah.
And Rick, from
Sometimes you're giving advice, you don't even know
Right.
it.
Rick, from an acting standpoint, is there a different approach, or is it very similar when you're doing, say, film versus a TV show?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I mean, there's a lot of, it's basically the same technology that's being used in both. So you have to hit a mark, and you have to, I think the most obvious thing is generally there's more money for a feature than there is for a week-to-week television show. Brad would know better than I, but I think the craft services is much bigger out of service.
Yes.
Yeah. It
Delicious.
gets a little thin on TV, unless you really luck out and get the right chef.
Get the right people.
Yeah. It's all about the people.
Craft service is now totally different, Rick. With COVID, you can't just go into the tent and grab food.
You have somebody bring it to you.
And it's all pre-wrapped, and it's not the same. It's probably much healthier and much safer than what it used to be, but yeah.
People probably eat less too.
Yeah, I think that we do, for sure.
Cool. We got a question around, I guess around The Simpsons, really. So John S., Linda C., Michelle S., they all sent in questions around The Simpsons. And can you talk about your experience with The Simpsons, Rick, whether it was being on the show, The Simpsons, or working with guest star Dan Castellaneta on Stargate?
He was great.
Oh, he's so wonderful. I mean, we all met him when he did an episode of our show, and the process was real simple. I just I blatantly said, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I just adore your work, etc. Fawning all over him. And then he offered me a job, finally. No, it was just we had lunch one day across the table from one another. He asked if I'd ever be interested in doing a Simpsons. And I said, as I've said before, picked myself up off the ground and answered in the affirmative. No, I kind of went crazy, respectfully crazy. So I didn't blow it. But yeah, he just asked me. He and his wife had written a script with MacGyver involved in it, or me involved in it, and it was just a matter of finding a weekend to go down and do it, and it was just wonderful. The process, most people have probably seen some version of the process, but for The Simpsons, my experience anyway, they put everybody has a microphone, not locked in booths or anything. There's one big microphone in the middle of this circle of actors, and they just read the script. They just in character, and I can imagine being a part of something like that and just having fun, just constantly having fun. Of course, that would get old after a while too, but no, it was really an honor for me. Yeah.
Stargate was a show that Simpsons was quoted quite often in the writer's room and on set.
Yep.
We were all fans.
So how did that kind of start? Was it fandom, like I guess mutual fan of Rick, or was it just in the writers' room? Did it come about organically, or connections? Do you know?
I don't remember. Do
For
you?
for the casting of Dan,
No, no,
Oh,
no.
just back and forth, because I know both Stargate and MacGyver oftentimes featured in The Simpsons, and then I'm assuming Dan kind of got cast afterwards.
That's Brad. I don't know. He just. I think we just hired him.
yeah, we basically just cast him, and because he wanted to do the character, and he was perfect for the character. And that was not an episode I produced. That was Rob and Damien. But I remember it. I got to meet Dan. It was fun.
He was awesome.
It was
So
so cool because being in that kind of position, everyone that he meets wants to hear Homer or any one of the dozen that he does. And he eventually acquiesced without being asked. And we all just ate it up,
Yep.
ate it.
Like a little mini scene, but played all the characters that he plays and switched between them.
Yeah.
And we're all just like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. It was, yeah. It was
You
really-
realize he does that in real time during the recording. He'll do
oh, wow. That's
a couple, maybe 3 characters in a row. I mean,
wow.
I just, yeah, that's a life. That's a
Yeah.
talent.
Great. We have a voice question coming in from Sherry C that we have, so we're going to play that for you right now as well.
Maybe.
Hi, Rick. It's Cherie and Toby, and we want to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Toby sends you a doggy kiss, and we both send you our love.
Was that
My
Toby?
question is, if the acting gig hadn't worked out, what would have been your second choice for a career?
Veterinarian, or actually, that was a recording, right?
It was recording, yeah.
Okay. Because my impulse is to answer them while they're talking. You making fool of myself. What would I? Well, it's no secret that I just love dogs. I don't know what I could have done, because I don't think I had the discipline to get any kind of medical degree to be a vet, but something around dogs specifically. I mean, animals in general, I'm very sympathetic, if not empathetic, to their causes. But for the longest time, I would answer in a way that would have me in the North Woods of, say, Canada, British Columbia, any one of the big forest places. And I wanted to be a forest ranger for the longest of time, just because of the environment primarily. Nowadays, with the kinds of fires that California has, I think the choice not to be one was well acted upon.
I've never had a desire to be a forest ranger.
You didn't?
Never crossed my mind.
I don't know. You look kind of woodsy.
Forest rangery?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it.
It would have been a rough life.
Yeah.
You're a woods fella, Brad.
Sure.
Think how much you could have written while you were out there in the tower.
I do go to the woods. I have a cottage that's surrounded by trees, and I write there. That's so it works out.
Nice.
Amanda, did you ever have another plan, or did you ever think about what you would do if you weren't acting?
I had a few thoughts. There was a long period of time where I wanted to be a marine biologist. I don't know why, because I'm terrified of the ocean now. Anything that's that deep. And then there was a period of time where I wanted to be a photojournalist. And yeah, I mean, I went through a whole bunch of phases, but ultimately I always wanted to be an actor. And then I really wanted to be a director.
Was the
Right.
desire to be a director just straight after, like within while you were acting, or was there
Yeah.
something else that you want to do? Okay.
No, yeah. While I was acting, I directed theater, and then on Stargate in season 2, beginning of season 2 or 3, I asked about directing, and I knew it was something I wanted to do. And I think like because it scared the crap out of me, and it still does, and that's why it's fun.
And Brad, did you ever, while working with, say, Amanda or anyone else, ever think, there's
Want to
something
direct?
there? Yeah, yeah. There's something.
I mean, my theory is I could have, but my theory is I would always be able to hire a director better than I would be. And in almost any situation where I've been sort of forced into that chair by virtue of the fact that the shit's hitting the fan, which happened a couple of times during the Outer Limits, and I was basically just trying to get the job done to finish the day. It was not fun. Because good directing is all about preparation. And the other thing is, Jonathan wanted desperately to direct and was a great director. Robert Cooper desperately wanted to direct and was a great director. I've never desperately wanted to direct. It's like I said in our last conversation with Rick. I said this to somebody else. What is it about the title executive producer that you find inadequate? That's enough.
Yeah.
I don't, I want a shot. I say, hey, could you do this shot? And they say, yes. It works every time.
Okay, we've got one last audio question from Linda. So this is a recording. It's coming in now.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Anderson. The Challenger Club episodes of MacGyver set me on a path to working with at-risk children and teens. I know you have a personal interest in social justice and the environment. Did playing MacGyver introduce you to those causes, or did you have a hand in introducing them to the show? Thanks.
No, my dad actually sowed the seed with me regarding the environment and conservation. He was a Democrat, but very conservative. He was from northern Minnesota, a place called Buell, Minnesota, which is near Virginia, up on the Iron Range up north. And it's nothing but woods and the occasional open pit mine, but lakes and trees and all that kind of stuff was important. Well, it is an important issue for people who live within those elements. So I became aware really at a very early age about taking care of things, and that include animals, but primarily it was about the conservation of our land, of all the things attached to land. But yeah, so it wasn't a sudden thing in old age.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't have anything clever about that.
No, no, you've
No,
always
but
been interested in stuff like that. You've always gone on, hikes and journeys
Hmm.
on between seasons.
Yeah. Well, one question I got asked a lot was, are you going to do a movie during hiatus? No. No, I'm going to go somewhere and visit the people and the trees and the dogs.
And the dogs.
And the dogs.
that's
We did this AI thing, and you did your intro for it, and it was a lot of fun, and I mean, it was pretty funny, wasn't it, Amanda? I mean, the
my
stuff
God,
that I
very.
mean, what you have to get your head around when you read this stuff is that no human being came up with these thoughts. It's generated by machine learning and by a computer.
Yeah.
And it's when you recognize that for what it is, it's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
And
I mean, with by watching the performances, it sure looked like a lot of fun.
it was.
But I think that's a result of the potential gibberishness of it, or the incongruity of it all. Because if I started thinking that it was generated by a computer, I think I'd start to freak out early about being taken over. But yeah, I am now fascinated by it, just by what you guys did. More of that coming?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well,
Like what Lawrence
I mean,
wants.
I'm inviting you basically, if we do it again, if you want to come and play and do O'Neill in that respect.
Yeah, well, we need to talk, you and me, about get a little deeper into the technology and I guess the theory of it all. Yeah, because you've made your peace with it, right? Like it's coming. I mean,
No, I no.
Okay.
I genuinely don't think it's going to replace me in my lifetime. I really don't. It's just not there yet. But that doesn't mean it's not fascinating. You know what I'm
It
trying to
is.
say? It's like watching the Wright brothers at Kitty Hawk in the Wright Flyer and saying, there's going to be a spaceship to go to Mars within 120 years. That's going to be, you would go, sure. But that's kind of where we are at the level of AI. We're at that very, very beginning stage. And it's fascinating. And I don't think it'll ever replace people. I don't, but it's fun and funny.
Yeah, I mean, but well, this will be maybe some off-camera stuff, but it just has to do with the process and where the initial seed of an idea gets planted in that cyber world.
Yeah.
It has to come from a human, right? Or is it just
they have to start with the 7 words.
that's it?
That's it.
I guess.
And of course, the AI has to have consumed Stargate. It has to have essentially read it, read all the episodes, which was why the idea was born, because there was so much of it. There was 10 years of SG-1 and 2 movies. So there was plenty of material there for an AI to read and presume what the next line would be out of Jack O'Neill's mouth, out of Sam Carter's mouth. And because there's a randomness to it, it's not random really, it's the logical next word, the logical next sentence, where it comes from. In other words, you couldn't even begin to do it from scratch.
You need 7 words.
Well, you need the basis of the material. I suppose you could from scratch if you asked it to do something from whole cloth.
Yeah.
It's just becomes random. And it goes off into
Yeah, you know,
gibberish. Exactly.
for the benefits of, I guess, new members, some new members might not know what happened
Okay.
before. Yeah, Brad effectively asked, could AI write a Stargate script? We have just a very short kind of trailer clip so people kind of know what's going on, and in case they haven't been able to follow the journey, and just refresh everyone. And then Amanda, I hope you don't mind, we might play a little monologue of yours just to show people
Oh God.
Okay.
what that looks like and
Jeez.
sounded like.
What if you got like a world-class AI to write scenes? Almost like a reunion / read-through / AI experiment. Wouldn't that be fun?
This is called Carter Monologue, You in the Sky, featuring Carter. Interior Jack's cabin day. Daniel and Carter look at each other. Coulson is seated down on the couch. Sound of a door opening. O'Neill and Teal'c enter. Carter steps away.
What do you mean? I don't know. I don't understand how much more. It's a function of the memory recall device. Yeah, I thought I could see the reason for months.
Carter looks at the sky.
How's that?
Really
I'm
good.
sorry, Jack. The only way out is up there. I hate to say it.
Carter looks at O'Neill, who nods.
Colonel O'Neill, so how do you know? Well, the only problem is the symbiote is no longer inside it. That's not what I was hoping for. It was there and then it wasn't. More than one, of course.
The door opens and a man enters.
We got it. We may have a problem. We have no way of knowing how things could do that to the ship. I was just wondering whether OMOC was supposed to be Acker. How?
The door opens and the men leave.
To find out here, to go across this way, they have to find out if you were him. Were you? Else he is alive? Question mark. There must be a way out of them. That sounds painful.
That sounds painful. No, I mean, it came out of the idea that, and I didn't know if it was going to be good or bad, and bad was in a way better than good.
Yeah.
But what I realized is that what actors do to AI speech, they must have been doing to mine, which is trying to make sense of it the entire time,
Yeah,
to
well,
create.
it was interesting because in Amanda's monologue, we didn't really feed it Jack O'Neill's character or anything, and yet it made you come in, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of interesting because it knew that Sam and Jack had spent so much screen time together that
Mhm.
if they were in a cabin, Jack is going to be there. And
Jack
so
had
that
to be
was-
there.
Yeah, yeah. There's we actually generated another kind of script just to see what would happen very quickly with Sam and Jack, and it's interesting because I'm just sharing it now. I don't know if you guys can see it. It kind of sounds like you, I guess, Rick and Jack, but then also kind of not at the same time. And I think that's what was so kind of fascinating with this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're like the third line. Let's hope it was the Bursa. We never had any Bursa. There was no. That's not an alien race we used. So it invented that word. It just came
Yeah.
up with Bursa. That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Does it sound like you're writing at all, Brad, at all, or is it kind of but jumbled up in these kind of ways?
Well, the next line I think so.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. There you go. Decision made. Yeah, I can see you saying that.
I'll
Or
just scroll
changing it.
through. Yeah, very, very slowly for the people to see it as well, for the members to see it.
Ah, crap. That's very O'Neill.
Yeah, that's very O'Neill. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So someday we
We'll
could try
rope
that. But see what I mean? Like we never wrote, there was no alien character called the Bursa. That it just made up a word. And I just think that's interesting.
Well, you know what a bursa is, right?
Yeah. It's not spelled that way, I don't think. Like a Bursa sack, like around the
Yeah.
muscle. Yeah.
Yeah. Two of which I have terrible ones now. Some not halfway.
You use
Thank you.
it
Thank
all
you,
the time. All the time.
baby.
Have way with words, some not have way.
I don't know. It looks like fun. That's where I've come around to. Initially, I was what and
Yeah.
why, and now I know who behind it.
The guy who's doing it is named Lawrence Moroney, and he's a wonderful guy who works at Google. He's their lead AI guy, and he's trying to demystify AI. So he's all for it, just from that perspective, because in our business, AI is always taking over the world and destroying everything, and he wants to demystify it and make it less threatening. So,
And he comes from a place of love because he really loved Stargate. So
truly.
like he really loved the show. So he came from like a really pure place. It was pretty cool.
He shared a couple of these things on Twitter, but he's actually got AI now doing art, and some of it is like, whoa, like he asked an AI, or however you ask an AI to do it, to create an image of a Stargate, and it's beautiful. It's real. I said I'd hang that in my house.
He's a very nice guy.
It's wonderful. But I mean,
Yeah.
AI designed art that's very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Have you
I
had
can
a
even-
reaction from public? Has this been,
Oh,
aired?
yeah. You know what it is, and this is the real reason I did it, to be honest. People wanted to see you guys. People wanted to see, the actors who make Stargate their life, give characters the life, and so it was the only way. It was a way we could do it without me writing something and then getting in trouble with MGM.
Huh.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry, but I just looked at the time. I have to go. So my short little surprise turned into be a lot longer. I hope
Well,
I
I'm
didn't-
so glad you stayed, and thank you for doing that.
Thanks for having me,
It was brilliant.
Yeah. Mwah.
Lawrence. Love you guys.
I see you.
I will. Okay,
Bye, Amanda.
guys, love you.
You too.
So one last share, and then speaking of the artwork, I just pulled it up for you to what it looks like. So this is what Lawrence Moroney shared on Twitter as like part of the artwork that he was doing, and so there's almost this kind of Stargate like theme that he created. So yeah, this is all AI computer generated. I think he also shared another one that looks kind of like
Yeah, that's the
this.
one I remember. I like that one.
Yeah. So it's just really interesting that there's a little bit of AI that could be in.
Let me see the first
art these
one
days.
again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking for like recognizable object stuff. But it all looks, it's art, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
blows me away.
Yeah. I've been more impressed by cows that have created paintings, but
I've seen there's actually a dog, a golden retriever that paints that I've watched it 100 times. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I love
It
that.
does like a flower. He's obviously been trained to draw a flower. It blows me away. And I love golden retrievers.
My heart.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, we've had you for now well over an hour. We appreciate it so much. Brad, we had you for 2 hours, and I really appreciate it. I got to tell you.
No, Rick, don't even worry about it. It worked out great. It worked out totally great.
It seemed spontaneous, if nothing else.
Yes, it
planned.
did.
It was planned. It went off.
We can just, if when we play this, we'll just cut out my song and dance to begin with. The karaoke section was awful. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, bring some canned music next time.
So then, most of all, I want to thank the 400 people, fans and companion members who showed up, for joining this event. Obviously, we thank Amanda, Chris for sending in
Oh yeah, Chris.
his message.
Thanks, Chris.
And then also Michael wasn't able to send in a video, but he's been supporting it on social media because Rick, you're not on social media, and so thank you to Michael as well for this. And just a few notes for the rest of the members. Thank you so much for making such a brilliant, wonderful, lovely community. I don't know if Rick, you know this, but we have members from over 60 countries around the world. So people are tuning in, everywhere from Toronto to Prague and Mumbai. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All these people together. For any
And
other
this will
members-
be edited, and many hundreds more will, if not thousands, will be able to watch it. So
Yes,
that's good.
this will be absolutely free, and then we'll be sharing it to all of our partners, and hopefully everyone can see it. So we really wanted to make it special.
The live feed people are watching right now.
Yes.
Like right now, yeah. There's
So
hundreds
the
of people.
recording, are you going to edit anything out of this exchange?
I have been getting weird messages saying, "Do not edit any of this." With Brad and myself sweating, and they're gonna show up. They're gonna show up. We're gonna light the candles. He's coming. Amanda's coming as well.
To all of you watching and potentially watching, sorry. I'm
No.
sorry.
No, it was fine. It was totally fine.
Yeah,
It was
no,
all
it was great.
technological, nothing personal.
Perfect. Good to see your face again anyway, Rick.
You too. I liked seeing you
You too.
and hearing from you occasionally. More dog pictures though.
Oh, isn't that last one I sent you of Tango? Isn't that the cutest thing?
Do you mind me doing what I do editorially with the pictures? I don't know if I sent.
No, you haven't sent one of Tango.
Okay. The sharper the picture can be, the better. But
Oh, okay, cool.
It
Cool.
doesn't have to be, crystal clear.
Okay, got it.
I'll futz with it.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And,
Thanks,
again,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Rick. Good to see you.
Bless you, my friend. Now what do I do?
We just hold on for a second. I think they'll